I'm already a millionaire in my mind. I may not see it yet, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I'm accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I'm meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. My name is Jullien Gordon, and I'm author of Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. After becoming a multimillionaire through real estate investing, I was moved by God at the beginning of the pandemic to share my money mindset that allowed me to quit my job in January of 2009 at the bottom of the last recession and achieve full financial freedom. I own my mental real estate before I own any physical real estate. This book is like some of your favorites: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich, and the Bible all in one. But the divine downloads and thoughts that are in here are 100% original and came to me over a 6-month period at the beginning of the pandemic. This book is normally $100 on Amazon if you went there right now, but I want to give you access to it for free by inviting you to our next reading group. Yes, the reading group is 100% free. Every weekday for 100 days straight, I'll be reading and discussing the 10 money commandments in the book that make money come to you in your life easily, more frequently, and abundantly. And it will take about 30 to 45 minutes as we read 3 to 5 pages per day until we finish the book and reprogram your mind around money. Why 100 days? Well, if you are 30 years old, you've lived for 10,950 days. And we have to deprogram and reprogram the negative, scarcity-based money mindset society has taught you. And I believe I can do that in just 1% of the time in about 100 days. I'm done with shelf help. You know, when you buy a book to change your life, but you never read it, it just sits on your bookshelf and collects a whole bunch of dust. We off that. When is the last time you had an author actually read their book to you out loud because they cared about you getting the information in your soul? I'm not just here to get this book in your hands. More importantly, I want to get it in your head and your heart, because that's where the real transformation occurs, in the conscious and the subconscious mind. As scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not the type of book that you just read once. To renew the subconscious mind requires repetition over and over and over. So if you joined us last time, I encourage you to join us again. I myself have read this book over 10 times already. So click the link to join our next reading group, and when you sign up, I'm going to give you the first 2 chapters of the book for absolutely free on what is money and abundance is your birthright, so that you can start your journey to a more abundant life today. Rich rising, rich rising, rich rising. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to another day of Read Rich and Righteous. We're reading Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. This is part of my free 100-day money mindset reprogram. We are so excited to have you. If you are new to this family, please type 0 in chat so that we can welcome you. By the end of the day, you will have a 1, but right now we want to just be able to identify you by typing 0. Now, for everybody else who's been here for quite some time, please type in your consistency score. We are on day 16 now. We're concluding week number 3. We're on day 16 now. And so the highest points you could have in terms of your consistency score is 16. So go ahead right now and type in your consistency score and just show everybody, including yourself, how consistent you've been on this process and this journey. The reason why consistency is so key is because we know that it requires repetition to reprogram the subconscious mind. And so the highest score you'll be able to get during this 100-day challenge is 72. 72 readings is what we're going to have over the course of this 100 days. And I'm just happy to see these amazing numbers. I see a lot of 16s right now. That means that you've been locked in for the first 3 weeks. And I hope that you are getting divine downloads and breakthroughs in your financial life as a result of that. I believe that the people who are here most consistently are going to have the greatest results. And so thank you so much for committing to do this work for yourself, because I believe that this is the yeast that will cause the bread in your life to expand. All right. So with that, I want to get right into it. We are again continuing our journey in the chapter. We broke it up in half because of the long chapter, How to Achieve Financial Freedom, Part 2. We're going to be reading pages 71 through 76 today. If you don't have the book, you can go to richrightnow.com and join the challenge for absolutely free. You don't even need the book to be here. All you have to do is show up. So if you're really in a state of poverty consciousness right now, you don't even need the book. You just need to show up at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. But if you would like the ebook or the physical physical book, go to richrightnow.com, sign up, and you can get the ebook for $49 along with the audio book and the replays of everything that you may have missed. And you can get the physical copies of the book, where I'll give you 5 copies for the price of 1. On Amazon.com, this book is $100 by itself, but when you go to richrightnow.com, I'll give you 5 copies for the price of 1. 1 is for you, 4 is for you to circulate. You can give those 4 away. You can sell them at $25 each, and basically then your book is free, or you can sell them at a higher amount and actually make profit. This is an actual act of abundance for you to step into buying this particular book, right? I know that this book is going to yield more than $100 worth of fruit in your life. And so if you feel challenged by the fact that the book is $100, then that actually is a reflection of where you are mentally. And everybody in chat can attest to you that over the time that they've just been here alone, they've gotten way more than $100 worth of value from this experience. And so I know that this is going to bear fruit for you and your financial future. So with that, I want to get right into it, into today's reading. We are actually in the middle of a chapter, right? The chapter was long, so I broke it up in half. And so we're actually on page, not 71, we're on 72. We finished 71 yesterday, and now we are turning the corner on page 72, all right? All right, and the chapter is How to Achieve Financial Freedom, Part 2, all right? So yesterday, we talked about a couple things. We talked about the wheels of fortune, right? How you have your employed, right? You're employed, and this is your active income trading time for money, and that's clockwise. And then we got into the counterclockwise, which is you buying assets, businesses, stocks, etc. that actually stimulates your second wheel, and that actually is counterclockwise, which allows you to buy your time back. We said that your assets are working harder than your ass, right? That's ultimately what we want. We said don't be passive aggressive, but be aggressive about your passive. And we know that we bank at God's abundant bank. That's an infinite source. And that the name of the game is, we had some jokes yesterday, but the name of the game is to create pipelines, not piles. To create pipelines, not piles of money, right? And so that should be our focus. And we also know that we need to release our shrinking thinking. And we have 2 ways to do that. We can either unclog the pipe, right, and get the negative thoughts that are out of it, or we can widen the pipe so that we can receive more from God, all right? So remember that God is our infinite source of supply. Money comes to us through man, not from man. God is our infinite source of supply, right? God is our income source, but money comes to us through man, not from man, all right? So these are some key lessons that we've explored during this first 3 weeks. So we're on page 72 now. Excuse that, that says 71. We turned the corner and we're on 72 now, all right? Second paragraph. The goal of the game is to turn any cash you initially earn through work into assets that work for you. It's a delicate balance between enjoying life now and investing to enjoy life in the future, right? To each his own. You have to decide what will feel more freeing for you. I don't want you to be a Scrooge with your money. That is not the goal, okay? I do not want you to be a Scrooge with your money. We're supposed to enjoy this money, right? We're supposed to enjoy this. I do not want you to be a Scrooge with your money. Money is supposed to flow freely. I want you to find the balance of enjoying life now and in the future. So many people borrow from their future to improve their present, which is a way of shooting yourself in the foot. Some people go out and they get debt now. They buy more house than they can actually afford. They buy a car that they can't really afford. And now they bog themselves down with debt. And while they look like they're living the life right now, it's going to come back to bite them in the butt later on, right? So we have to find that balance. And for each of us, that balance is going to be different. You want to work hard for money until your money is working harder for you, then you work for it. The hardest part of becoming wealthy is usually the process of amassing some money to work with. As a CEO of your life, you have to employ your money at the highest level possible. I'm going to repeat that. As the CEO of your life, you may not be CEO of an official company or LLC or corporation, but as the CEO of your life, your job is to employ your money at the highest level possible. Warren Buffett said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Said another way, if you allow your money to sleep, you will never rest. If you allow your money to sleep, if you allow Benjamin Franklin and these dead presidents to sleep in a savings account, you will never rest. All right? So last paragraph on page 72. The challenge that even high income earners have is that they are employed, but they don't employ their money. Okay? Even high income earners have this issue. They are employed, you are employed, but you're not employing your money. Everybody say, I have 2 jobs. Type, I have 2 jobs. I'm an employee and I'm an investor. I'm an employee and I'm an investor. The issue is that you're doing great at being an employee, you're doing bad at being an investor. You're doing great at your 9 to 5, but after the 9 to 5, the 5 to 9, you're not doing that great of a job because you're so burned out from the 9 to 5. So after you get off of your active income job, you have to focus your thought energy on creating passive income so that you can eventually quit or leave your active income job if you're not happy there. Okay? You're giving your life force energy, 8 hours plus of time and energy to them, and you don't own that company. You might have some shares or whatnot, but by and large, you don't own that company. So you have to invest the rest of your time, right, the other 8 hours of your day, into building your future legacy, okay? The greatest unemployment crisis of all time is not people not working. That is not the greatest unemployment. I mean, the unemployment rate, I think, is around 5% right now. So that means 95% of people who are seeking jobs actually have them. That is not the greatest unemployment crisis. It is unemployed money sitting in hard-working folks' savings accounts. That's the greatest unemployment crisis of all time. That means that these dead presidents are unemployed. See, it's not the unemployment rate in terms of actual human beings. It's the unemployed money that is sitting in people's savings accounts for their own financial insecurity. We know we don't call that financial security. We call that financial insecurity. Because if you have money sitting in a savings account and it's only earning 0.03% interest, we know that you don't know how to grow that money at a greater rate than that. And using the rule of 72 divided by 0.03 means that it's going to take you 2,400 years to double your money in a savings account. This means that you're not producing the highest yield on the money that you already earned. Okay? You already worked hard to make the money. Now you have to make the money work hard for you. Right? So this is the name of the game. And actually that's exactly what's next. Money in a savings account just sits there lazily earning 0.03% interest. And as I said, it will take you 2,400 years to double your money in a savings account at a 0.03% interest rate in a Bank of America savings account. Whereas when you invest in an asset like multifamily real estate, which is my favorite asset class, this is why I lead the multifamily movement, you get at least a 12% cash on cash return and your money doubles every 6 years, okay? Because now you have 72 divided by 12, meaning that your money is doubling every 6 years. And as you can see from the chart below on page 73, a $10,000 investment that doubles every 6 years for 60 years would be over $10 million in 60 years. Again, I talked about Warren Buffett and Elon Musk. Elon Musk, we did his personal internal rate of return over 20 years from cashing out of PayPal to what he was able to create through Tesla, SpaceX, and Solar City. And then we looked at Berkshire Hathaway and its 17.9% return, annual internal rate of return, right, over a 39-year period. We have to have long-term time horizons, and again, it's about consistency. So the consistency score doesn't just apply to you reading this book. This consistency has to do also with your returns on investment, okay? So if you are able to grow money at 12%, meaning that it is doubling every 6 years for 60 years, that $10,000 will turn into $10 million. I didn't make this up. Numbers don't lie, family. This is how you hear some stories of janitors retiring with millions of dollars. They may not have been making a lot of money, but they employed the money that they did make at very high levels. Okay? So, year 0, 10,000. Every 6 years, it doubles to 20,000. 6 years, that doubles to 40. Then to 80, 160, 320, 640, 1.2 million, 2.5 million, 5.1 million, 10.2 million in 60 years. If you just focus on employing your money at a 12% return, okay? If you only have, even if you only have $5 in your savings account, find a way to invest it. You must accept your identity as an investor here and now, no matter how much money is in your bank account at the moment, or you will be an employee and a worker for the rest of your life. You cannot save your way to wealth. Don't bury your dead presidents in a savings account. Franklin, Hamilton, Lincoln, and Washington are all the dead presidents on the dollar bills are your employees, and you must lead them and make them productive by giving them things to do every day that grow your personal economy. Okay? You must lead them. What was Nas' line? I'm out for presidents to represent me. Yeah, I need to send my presidents out to represent me in the world while I'm over here working to get more of them. Right? That is my job. Okay, so many of you are doing great on your first job, which is your 9 to 5, but you're failing at your second job as an investor from 5 to 9. Okay, when you understand, put them to work, or else you will always work for them your entire life. You have to put them to work, or else you will work for them for your entire life. When you understand financial freedom in this way, it makes you question how you've been pursuing wealth. We are programmed to believe that the highest paid person wins the game. So we pursue the highest paying jobs. We base our career decisions on a base salary, not our higher self. We base our career decisions based on the base salary, not our higher self. When you're choosing a job, right, or an industry, or what you should be doing with your life force energy and your time, we're choosing it based on money, right? But in reality, if you want to guarantee yourself success, then guess what? You choose it based on your higher self. What was the one thing that I was created to do that nobody else in this world can do like me? Now, if you find a job that's in alignment with that, in alignment with your purpose, awesome, okay? Not everybody has to be an entrepreneur, but we want to make career decisions based on our higher self, what we were called and created to do, not based on a base salary, okay? In doing so, we become slaves to money by allowing it to dictate our decisions. Everybody, I need you to type this in. Right now, this may not be a reality for you, but I need you to type this in. Money does not dictate my decisions. Money does not dictate my decisions. How do we give this piece of paper so much power? That it dictates our daily decisions, even so much so that we compromise our values sometimes. We compromise our assignment and our alignment with God. How do we give this piece of paper so much power that it dictates our daily decisions? What we're going to eat, where we're going to live, where we're going to work. This does not have power over me. I am master over money. Money is not master over me. They put "In God We Trust" over here to deceive you because many people have made this their God. And now it is dictating their daily decisions. Okay? We have an inverted and perverted relationship with money, and we need to flip that. Okay? There are many people who have high active incomes that still aren't financially free because all their income is active. In fact, I would suggest that most people with high-paying jobs are not financially free because their passive income is slim to none, and their salary can become slavery because their work expands beyond 40 hours per week. Did you know that in most cases a salary is slavery, family? A salary is slavery, and you probably be better off working for an hourly rate with overtime. Because once you get put on a salary, family, guess what? They can work you more than 40 hours and you can't say anything about it. You don't get paid any more money. You don't get paid any more money when they work you for more than 40 hours a week, right? So in many cases, a salary is slavery, and this is what they talk about, the golden handcuffs, because the higher I'm getting paid, the more, and of course, if my lifestyle, my cost of living rises with that pay, then the more I feel stuck in this actual job. I got a higher pay, so I got a better car, I got a nicer house. I'm sending my kids to $30,000 a year private school. I actually have to stay at this job now because I can't leave it because then I can't afford this lifestyle. So I'm stuck here now. All right? So listen to this, okay? A blue-collar worker's work is done when they leave the factory or the construction site. They can't take their broom with them. They can't take the building with them or their hammer with them. They can't take any of the tools with them. But a white-collar worker's work can follow them everywhere since it is digital. How many of you have white-collar jobs? How many? Type the color job you have and type no job if you ain't got no job. Okay? Blue-collar, white-collar. Guess what, family? You want to know something? It's still a collar. I don't care if it's blue. I don't care if it's white. It's still a collar. That's why I don't wear ties, family. A tie, what is the purpose of a tie? A tie is actually a symbolism for a leash. A tie is actually a symbolism for a leash, or if you put it up like this, it's symbolism for a noose. This is why I don't wear ties. You see me with collarless shirts, no collar. That's intentional. Okay? But we definitely undervalue blue collar work in this country, in this pursuit of white collar work, when I believe that blue collar workers actually have more security than white collar. Okay? You can't outsource a plumber. There's no AI that's going to replace a plumber. But all that white collar work, it can be outsourced to another country for cheaper, or AI can take it over. Okay? So I actually think blue collar workers are more secure when it comes to their financial future. All right? Now, page 74, second paragraph. The key to financial freedom and wealth is investing your money into assets that grow your money over time without you trading time. A person with $100,000 in active income is nowhere near as free as a person with $50,000 in passive income. Listen to that. A person with $100,000 in active income is nowhere near as free as a person with $50,000 in passive income. Which would you prefer? In chat, let me know. Which would you prefer? $100,000 in active income or $50,000 in passive income? Let me know in chat. Let's see. 50, 50, 50. Okay, a few people would take the 100 and invest it. Okay, but even if you invested that 100 at 12%, right, which is what we do with multifamily real estate investing, that 100 is only producing $12,000 per year passively, right? So we're starting to understand money at a higher level. Okay, a person with $100,000 in active income is nowhere near as free as a person with $50,000 in passive income, even though it is 50% less. A salary can be slavery if the higher salary means more time and higher demands on you. And then, because we falsely perceive a higher salary as higher income, we have the tendency to increase our cost of living by getting a bigger house or a nicer car or eating out more often. And that increase in cost of living wipes out the increase in salary. As a result, you find yourself working more and working harder with a higher salary, but your true income and proximity to freedom is exactly the same. Okay? This is where they deceive you in the American language. They call your salary income. Your salary is not income. As an entrepreneur, your income is your revenues minus your expenses equals your income. Okay? So what is that equation for an employee? Well, your salary is your revenues. Then you have your cost of living, and your salary minus your cost of living equals your income. Your income is actually what's left over at the end of the month. It's not what you get from your employer. But if they call your salary your income, you think that your income has increased just because you're getting paid more. But if your cost of living increases proportionally, then your income actually hasn't changed even though your salary went up. Somebody who has a $60,000 salary and lives off of $40,000 is making what? $20,000 a year in income. Now, let's say they get a pay raise and now they're getting paid $100,000 a year, but their cost of living rises to $80,000 a year. 100 minus 80 is also 20. Those two people have the same exact income. This is how you have to be very careful with the language that they use in the American economy. Your salary is not your income. Your salary is your revenues. Your income is what's left over at the end of the month. Did y'all catch that? Okay? Last paragraph on page 74. An interesting thing about the mathematical definition of financial freedom is that people, this is going to blow your mind, is that people in poverty are closer to financial freedom than rich people with high cost of living. Yes. People in poverty are closer to financial freedom than rich people with a high cost of living. Let me explain. This may seem counterintuitive, but people in poverty don't need as much to be joyful. Okay? If they have been living off of $2,500 per month for over a decade, their low cost of living means that they need fewer cash flowing assets to become financially free than someone whose cost of living is $10,000 per month. Okay? $2,500 per month in passive income could come from one fourplex multifamily home plus a duplex where they live in one unit and rent and mortgage free. Okay, so they've now acquired through perhaps NACA or something like that. They've gotten a fourplex and a duplex. Those units produce, the other 5 units produce $500 per month in cash flow for them. They are already financially free because their cost of living was only $2,500 a month. Okay? If each of the 5 remaining units produce $300 per month in positive cash flow for a total of $1,500 per month, and you no longer have to pay $1,000 per month in rent. Together, that is $2,500 per month, and that person is financially free. They are closer to financial freedom than somebody with a higher cost of living. Listen to this. In contrast, the person who needs $10,000 per month, right, to be joyful, to be at peace, right, to have everything that they need and desire, and they're going to need $10,000 in passive income to be free, would need to find 31 units instead of just 6 that cash flow at $300 per month while they eliminate their rent and mortgage by living in 1 unit. What's going to be easier to acquire, family? 6 units or 31 units? It took me over 10 years to, actually it took me about 7 years to get over 31 units. This person, if done right and uses the right plays, they could get to 6 units probably within 18 to 24 months. So who's closer to freedom? The person with the lower cost of living or the person with the higher cost of living, regardless of salary? It's the person with the lower cost of living. Remember, your passive income greater than your cost of living. That's what financial freedom is. So if your cost of living is low, right, it actually makes it easier for you to get to financial freedom. Now, I'm not encouraging you or saying that you need to live small, right, in order to be free. I'm not encouraging that. I'm just giving you the mathematics of the equation. And I do encourage you to keep your cost of living as low as you possibly can so that you can take the excess, right? Your revenues minus expenses, the excess is your true income, and you can invest that in cash flowing assets until one day it surpasses your active income, right? And it's greater than your cost of living. That's the real encouragement, all right? So everybody type, I am closer to financial freedom than I thought. I am closer to financial freedom than I thought. All right? We got one more page, family. Second paragraph, page 75. Finally, this definition of financial freedom shifts our perspective on debt because debt-free doesn't mean financially free. Debt-free does not mean that you are financially free. I know a lot of you out there are on that Dave Ramsey plan and you're looking to be debt-free and ring Dave Ramsey's little bell. But debt-free does not mean financially free because of all your income is still active income. Just because you're debt-free doesn't mean that you're financially free. Many people have gotten that confused. Many people are rushing to become debt-free because they hate owing other people. But debt-free doesn't mean financially free because you can be debt-free yet all of your income is still active income. No debt and a good income are not financial freedom. You have to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is debt you have to pay back yourself. Okay, so bad debt includes credit cards, right? Actually, I'm going to get into that in a second. Good debt is debt that pays you. Everybody type, good debt is debt that pays you. Good debt is debt that pays you. There's a distinction. All debt is not the same. Okay? Bad debt is why most people hate debt. It includes credit cards, single-family mortgages, and student loans. That's debt that you have to pay back. That's why it's bad debt, because you have to pay it. Good debt is debt you use to buy assets that pay back the debt and leaves you with positive cash flow like multifamily real estate. So when I put 25% down or 3.5% down or even 0% down with like NACA on a multifamily home, right? I've taken on debt. But the cash flow from that property, the rent, right, minus the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, capex, repairs, and vacancy rate leave me with cash flow, right? So the tenants are paying back the debt and I'm generating cash flow from taking on that, or what some people would call a risk, but I see as wealth. Taking on that investment, right? So you have to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. I agree that you should get rid of all of your bad debt with high interest rates above 7%. But your good debt can wait if you are strategically using it to grow your wealth by buying income generating assets that also appreciate, which will accelerate your progress towards financial freedom. If I can borrow money at 3% and grow it at 15%, how much money should I borrow? In chat, let me know. If I can, and the interest rate has changed since I wrote the book. If I can borrow money at 6% right now and I can make it grow at 15%, how much money should I borrow? If I can borrow money at 9% and I know how to make it grow at 15%, how much money should I borrow? Okay? No, it's not. No. is not as much as you possibly can. The real answer is I should borrow as much as I can possibly deploy. Okay? I don't want to borrow $10 million, but only be able to find $3 million worth of deals. Because now I'm paying interest on the other $7 million that's just sitting there. Remember I told you that rich people have problems, money problems, and their problems is finding enough good investments at scale, right? So I don't want to borrow as much as I possibly can. I want to borrow as much as I can deploy and use that generates 15%. Because I need that asset that I invested in to pay back the 9% interest or the 7% interest, whatever I borrowed it at. And then that gap, right? 15 minus 9, that gap, that 6% is my profit, right? So on $1 million, 6% on $1 million is what? $60,000? Yeah, that's $60,000. That's $5,000 a month because of that gap between the 15% I was able to make that money work at versus what it actually cost me to borrow that debt. All right? So I know this is getting a little bit advanced for some folks, but I want you to know that there's a difference between good debt and bad debt, and you're gonna have to get a deeper understanding of that as we get into math for millionaires. Okay? Last paragraph on page 76, last page. For some people, freedom looks like spending lots of time doing nothing on a beach. For others, it means traveling to wherever it is warm and working from anywhere. For some people, it means the ability to retire early or quit their job to pursue their purpose. For some folks, it means never having to worry about money again. For others, it means leaving generational wealth for those they love to have what they didn't have. For some, freedom means becoming a philanthropist, making a greater social impact, and contributing to causes that matter to them. I challenge you to define what freedom looks like for you, determine how much it actually costs to have that life, and then pay the price with your time, money, and mindset to get there. All right? So, for those of you who have the rituals workbook, you can see that the exercise that you need to do as homework is to complete your financial freedom number exercise. All right? So that's going to be there in week number 3. Right? If you would like the rituals workbook, if you only have the Rich and Righteous book and you'd like the rituals workbook, you can go to richrightnow.com/store, richrightnow.com/store, and just get the rituals workbook. And before we close out, I just want everybody to type in what were their major insights and takeaways from today. All right? Good. All right, obviously, yes, good debt versus bad debt. The wheels of fortune. All right, good. I have 2 jobs. I'm an employee and an investor. I'm doing one great, but the other one I'm not doing so well. All right, that's okay. We're just being honest, right? You have to understand and see the issue, right? And we have to get that second wheel of fortune to get going. All right? Yes, that's another good one. Debt-free does not mean financially free. There's a lot of confusion around that. Just because you're debt-free, if you only have active income, you are not financially free. Financial freedom is when your passive income is greater than your cost of living. Yes, I'm closer to financial freedom than I thought because my cost of living is not that high. I'm closer to financial freedom than I thought because my cost of living is not that high. Okay? And oh yes, and the greatest unemployment crisis is not human beings being unemployed. It is the unemployed money sitting as dead presidents in bank accounts. All right? So, oh yeah, one more. If you allow your money to sleep, you will never rest. If you allow your money to sleep, you will never rest. All right, so that concludes not only today's reading, that concludes this week. I wish everybody a strong end, right? We don't use the word weekend here, and you'll start to see that when we get into the money commandment around how we speak, right? You'll see that why we don't say weekend. I wish you a strong end. I pray that this Saturday and Sunday that they strengthen you. I pray that you are able to take Sabbath, whether that's a full day or half a day. I pray that you rest, right, and rejuvenate your body. And you're not just resting for the corporate plantation. You're resting so that you can work both your jobs. 1, your active income, and then 2, how you actually make passive income, all right? So next week, we're going to be starting on time freedom is true freedom. Okay, we'll be on page 77. We're still in money commandment number 1, and we have a few more pages there before we get into the second money commandment next week, which is how the rich and righteous think about money and wealth, all right? So again, everybody have a strong end. Like and share this video, comment on it, and I look forward to seeing you in week number 4 starting on Monday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. Again, if you just joined us, don't know what you stepped into, go to richrightnow.com and join this free 100-day challenge. We will be starting on day 17 on Monday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, everybody, have a great strong end and go be God to yourself. Be God to yourself means to love yourself the way God loves you. It means to be master over yourself in the way that God is master over you. And it means to be first cause in your life, knowing that no institution or individual or anything outside of you has more power over the direction of your life than you do. All right, have a great strong end, y'all. Peace. I, Jullien Gordon, with this mortgage, relinquish part of my freedom to psych. I've been rent-free since I acquired my first multifamily property, a triplex in Brooklyn, New York, in May of 2013. And since then, I now own 16 multifamily properties with 40 doors that generate about $38,000 per month in rents in just 8 years on the side. Do not sign a 30-year mortgage. Get freedom for life when you buy a multifamily property. Did you know that the word mortgage literally means death pledge? The prefix mort is the same as mortician or mortuary. Listen to me. 44 million households rent, and 82 million single-family buyers think that they own, but they don't. HGTV will say, congrats, you're a homeowner. But that's not true. That's a lie. The moment you get the keys, you're a home buyer. And that is a huge difference. As a home buyer, you're still paying rent. It's not rent to a landlord. It's rent to the bank to use their money. That's called interest. You are borrowing the bank's money. Right? The interest on a $300,000 home at a 4% interest rate will be about $208,000 over 30 years. So that $300,000 house is actually a $508,000 house. What does that mean? That means that you're not only buying yourself a home, you're also buying a home for your banker. If this is you, I can help you get out of this by acquiring a multifamily property. Whether it is rent or a mortgage payment, most American housing expense takes up about 35% of their income. In times like this, when rents are rising, unemployment is rising, and inflation is rising, but wages are staying stagnant, you absolutely need to be rent and mortgage free. Imagine the freedom of never, ever, 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 ever having a housing expense for the rest of your life. If you want financial freedom, starting with your rent and your mortgage, like I did, then click the link below and register for my free webinar coming up on how to finance, find, and finalize multifamily real estate deals. It is actually not as hard as you may think, but keeping up with rising housing costs are. You need to be the receivers of rent, not the payers. Your time is now. Click the link below.